All right, friends, in this lesson, your students are going to be adjusting numbers to add and subtract. Now, the way they're going to adjust the numbers in addition problems is different from the way that they're adjusting numbers in the subtraction problem. So first of all, just a quick little review. Terms in an addition expression, and this is not something you need to go over with your students. It's just kind of understanding why these are different. These are different. These are completely different problems here. So we call both these numbers, the 7 and the 12, we call each one of them add-ins. And then, of course, 19 is the sum. So when we're adjusting numbers, when it's an addition problem, we've got our total amount, so we can add to one number, but then we have to take away from the other number. So to keep that total amount the same. Subtraction is different. Now, these are words we never are going to use with our students, just showing you that these are not add-ins. They are not add-ins. We call this the minuend, and this one the subtrahend. All right, I know those are, and then we call the 20 the difference. Okay, again, definitely not showing those words to your students. Just saying this to point out that these are different types of terms than two add-ins. So when we've got an addition problem, we are adding to one, taking away from the other one. But when we've got a subtraction problem, we're either adding to both numbers or subtracting from both numbers because they work differently than an addition problem. So this is the example that we did in the student video. Go much more in depth in the student video. So if you want a more in-depth overview, definitely check that one out. So we adjust numbers to addition equations, like I've been saying, add to one, subtract from the other. So here we would add to make this one easier to work with, and that is the whole point of doing this, is to make the numbers easier to work with than using the algorithm. It's just building that mental math ability in your students. So if we add 1 to 129, then we would subtract 1 from 232 and get 361. If your students are having a hard time grasping why you add to one and subtract from the other one, use your base 10 blocks or pull it up on Polypad. You can check that out in the student video or the parent video. We look at how you can use Polypad to show that. Now with subtraction equations, they're different. You add the same number to both that minuend and subtrahend, or subtract the same number from them. Okay, now reinforce that one way to show subtraction, and this is key for this lesson, is to understand that one way to show subtraction is the distance between two numbers on a number line. Okay, so if we look, for example, in this one, we can see that 197 and 361, I'm looking at the distance those two are apart from each other on the number line. Well, 200 is a whole lot easier to work with. So if I bump 197 up to 200, I have to bump up 364 because I have to keep that distance the same. So then we worked in the student video, we worked through a few more problems. Here you can see we subtracted 1 from both of them. I kept the distance the same. It made these numbers much easier to work with. Now, I would encourage your students to try different numbers. We did in the student video, we looked at, for example, this one, adding 1 and subtracting 1. We got 230 plus 314. Now, I said in the video, maybe somebody wants to make this 300, so they want to subtract 15. And so then we would have to add 15 over here. Now we've just made this, again, more complicated by doing that. So, but there is nothing wrong with that, with trying that. So we, like in the video, we went through, we said, okay, well, if I add 15, adding 10 would be 239, and then adding another 5 would be 244. That's all right. Let's go ahead and go with it. We see we still got the same answer, but then have the discussion, which way was the easiest way and the way that helped me to most fluently find the answer. It was with the adding one and subtracting one. And this just takes practice with working with these numbers. I've had teacher friends who call them convenient numbers or comfortable numbers. I've heard them called friendly numbers. It's just adjusting these numbers to make them easier. To work with. And sometimes we adjust numbers, makes it super easy to work with. Like here, if we added 2 to both of these, it's easy to work with. Maybe somebody says, I want to make this 300. Well, then suddenly we see, oh, I haven't made it any easier to work with. Maybe I could, and you could keep going from this to show that we will end up with the same answer, but we're looking for the way that makes it the easiest to add these. So again, the key differences though, and I would have a visual support in my room with this, showing the difference. When I'm adjusting numbers with an addition problem, I am adding to one and subtracting from the other, the same numbers. When I'm adjusting numbers with a subtraction problem, I'm either adding the same number or subtracting the same number. In that visual support, I would even show that subtraction is the distance between two numbers. All right, friends. Maybe I'll put together something that you could use for a visual support. I'll try to do that and add it in the teacher area. Thanks for joining. See you in the next one.